And yes, they should be capitalized because they're titles.
To capitalize what?
7A 3.3 vehicular capital lanes, 7A 3.5 capitalized public frontages.
Oh, I got it. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Oh, I get it.
Got it.
Okay, I see.
So capital L and
Lane,
capital
lane, and
front.
Frontage.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Okay.
going to do it. It sounds, I feel like my voice is echoing back like 4 times. Does the volume have to be this loud? Great, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Should 7A 4.14 be, the T be capitalized on drive-through? Off,
Dri-
off-street is.
You know, through would not be because it's hyphenated.
Well, but they have
that right?
off-street.
But they have
above.
off-street in
One word without a
4.9.
hyphen.
Drive-through is one word without a
I mean,
hyphen.
drive-through could be one word without a hyphen.
Okay.
You have it capitalized like non-conforming 7A.4.2. B is capitalized.
Yeah,
And you have, well, yeah,
and probably non-conforming
Yeah, so
can be,
that hyphen is capital, but you're saying drive-through is one word.
I mean,
and non-conforming is one word.
yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
And then on 7A 5-6, most of it's just a single dash, and this seems to be a double dash that merged together. 7A 5.6 needs to be a single dash, not a double
I'm
dash.
sorry, it's really hard for us.
5.6.
5.6.
Table 5,
Is a single,
single dash, not a double dash.
Oh, it's coming out heavy, yeah, okay.
yeah. Right?
Okay. So this next comment was about the transect zones. We just don't do, I mean, we could do a map showing the general area, but we just don't put zoning maps in the
Yeah.
ordinance.
So in trying to make it a little bit more approachable, perhaps what we do is define that the regulating plan is, like, give a description of what the regulating plan is,
Okay,
which we don't really refer to until page 3, but then put a link to the zoning map.
okay.
Oh, because it's on 3.
So it says the crabapple regulating plan must also be shown, I'm skipping to 7.3 on A, where it starts talking
Right.
about it. Within the boundaries shown in the crabapple regulate, which is hereby readopted concurrently with which must be kept on file with the director, which is hereby by reference, the crabapple must also be shown on the official zoning map. I don't know, and if people just want to see where the boundary is, that's fine.
Yeah,
But I think that takes care of it.
but I think it would be good to have a link to the official zoning map.
Okay, okay.
But somehow, when I heard the words crabapple regulating plan, because we have like the Birmingham master plan and all that, I kept thinking, oh, there's a document out
Right,
there.
right.
So within the boundaries shown in the crabapple regulating plan, the crabapple regulating plan, rather than must also be shown, is shown. How do we convey to people that you're not looking for a document, which I searched for some point? It's just the definition of where crabapple is.
maybe after intent, like elemento, maybe P can be like the map. Because it just talks about,
Mhm.
that way it would just show where is the location.
Yeah,
So
well,
P-
you really get into talking about the regulating plan in 7A1-3A.
Right. But I was just saying it would be kind of toward the beginning and then people would
Yeah.
see, oh, this is the area. So maybe P would be a map of crabapple form-based code. Outline map of crabapple form-based code, but not with all the transect zones.
Yeah. And then, so then backing up in 7A1.1, does it make sense to have a link to the crabapple visioning study? I'm now back 7A1.1A.
Then there's the comprehensive plan, so we can make that, we can ask about it. I just don't know where all these links are gonna be and all that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The visioning
Good idea.
plan was on the Milton website.
Yeah.
I could
Well,
find
the
it there.
comprehensive plan is also. So links for documents.
So, and I know I'm going backwards. The intent and purpose of this Article 7A defined as this code,
Mhm.
which was an interesting construct, because I think before we've referred to it just as this Article 7A, rather than, because there's this code, and then I started reading it going, I'd forgotten that Article 7A in 7A was defined as this code up here. So I kept saying, are you referring to the UDC? Are you just referring to this article? But I think in other sections of the UDC, we've always just not called it this code, we've called it this Article 7A.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
'cause
that,
it
so like
appears,
get
I've
rid of
circled
this
it 2 or 3
code, the
times.
parentheses.
Yeah, so wherever it says this code, substitute this Article 7A, and it's used a lot.
Yeah. I had circled it almost every time.
Okay, this Article 7A. What was the rest that you said?
So in 7A 1.1, strike this code and the parents.
Right.
And then wherever you see a reference, so do a substitution wherever it said capital this, capital code,
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, do a
substitute,
substitute.
this Article 7A throughout.
Right.
Because I think that's clearer, because I kept wondering,
7A.
the ordinance, the UDC, yeah.
Right, okay, got that.
This is minor, but in 7-3, A of 7A 1.3, see how they bold the parentheses and they did that in here as well. So we
Okay.
just need to
Well, it's-
unbold the
It's
parentheses.
over there. It's,
Well, then that now becomes, you replace it with this Article 7A, right?
No, that
Well,
one's this
no.
district.
That's
No.
this district.
That one's this
This
district.
says this code, this district,
Oh, okay, this district, okay.
what was,
but here.
so what's the reason for,
That parentheses is bolded.
yeah.
Yeah, so unbold that.
Oh, I was gonna say, because that occurs,
Well, I think it says he's
Several
bolded
times in
this
here.
Article 7A too. There might be a reason why he has that.
Well, I was just talking about
yeah,
the,
but
Yeah.
it appears.
Oh,
in
the
other-
parentheses.
Just the
I
parentheses,
see.
the
Oh,
beginning
you're getting really,
parentheses.
okay, yeah.
I was getting.
In the weeds, yeah.
So backing up to on the bottom right of 7.2, 7A 1.2A, capitalized terms used throughout this code are defined in Article 13. And now we're back to this. This is calling the convention of we capitalize our definitions. And the last time we had a long discussion about
No, I know.
not
So
capital.
we'll just have him fix that because I think it's gonna, and kind of like,
So we may have to replace this, strike capitalized and just say
define.
terms used throughout this Article 7A are defined in Article 13.
So obviously this was done a while ago, so yeah.
Back to 781A. Agree that those should be capitalized.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And then in B, generally, we usually just refer to a section, but I think the use is, if you're going to call out what it is, it would be section 7A-5, and then in quotes, standards and tables, end quote. Because it's calling out a title.
Okay.
So quotes around standards and tables.
Yep. And then likewise, at the bottom of that paragraph, quotes around definitions illustrated.
Okay.
I just had a comment on D, 7A 1.2D. So number one, before the word apply, should you insert the word shall? And then number two, it says that when a provision of this code conflicts with another requirement, is that right? Is it supposed to be requirement of this UDC or the UDC? Or is it just a provision of the UDC?
Vision of this code applies unless, so I think it's saying,
So one time we call it a provision, the other time we call it a requirement. Are they both not provisions, I think is your point, Sumit?
Mhm.
the one says, I'm sorry, so when a so
So when a provision of this code conflicts with another requirement of this UDC, the provision of this code applies unless otherwise indicated. So,
I think all three words are provisions. Because they're all the same, we're trying to say they're all provisions. And if there's a conflict, this provision prevails.
I would,
I
yeah.
know it's a lot of.
I would say
requirement.
instead of,
provision.
yeah, provision. And then, like I said, before apply, it should probably be shall apply.
I think he's kind of getting rid of shall and saying should or something. I can't remember what his,
Well, then you would say the provision of this code applies unless, you would say applies,
Yeah.
Applies. I like that.
applies unless otherwise indicated. So then you don't have to use shall.
oh,
IES.
yeah, yeah.
One D, regulating plan is defined, but infill regulating plan is not. So infill's not defined, but regulating plan is. So what I don't know is, are you just going to take all three of those to lowercase? Because regulating plan is defined, but infill regulating plan is not. Or do we need to add a definition?
Let's see. I thought it was, but.
As infill, it would be a concept that you'd see in a more dense area, commercialized, high density, higher density housing with the idea of we want to fill it in. But
Yeah, okay, so we would want a definition of infill regulating plan.
or infill, and then the two combined become,
I'm sorry, what?
regulating plan is defined, so you
Yes.
can either define infill,
Yeah, I think it would be better to say infill, right, because it's a very specific process.
okay,
So,
so then it should
um,
be defined.
I mean, there's a like actual, like, there's a section of the
Steps.
code that talks about it, but it would probably be good to have a definition. Okay.
Especially if it's something that they have to comply with.
On, on E, 7A, 13E, does that read right?
I stumbled on it, but when I thought back and said, okay, so like the Mayfield district will be a special district because they don't conform to the requirements of the transit zone. So therefore, and it's because of their intrinsic character. So areas that, by their intrinsic character, cannot conform to the requirements of the zone.
But if you put a comma after transect zone, would that make it
No, because that's a
more
noun.
confusing? Yeah. Okay, it
Not
just,
con- Well, the requirements is the noun, of any transit zone.
okay.
To meet, you do more of this stuff writing than I do.
I don't think you need a comma.
Yeah, I don't think
Okay,
so either.
Okay.
Seven dash four?
Now, on,
I have nothing on 7.4.
well, the only thing I had again is we brought it up, it says this code again, so
So we'll just have them replace it with.
replace, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. That's all I have on that.
7-5,
So, on D at the top of the page, warrants relating to a use will be processed in accordance with that. It must be based on the considerations for use permits. So I'm not sure do we need to, is there any need to reference section 8 where use permits are covered? In addition to section 12, which is the process for getting a use permit.
No, because warrants, it's kind of apples and oranges, so the warrants, if they're requested, has to go and evaluate the considerations from 12.5.2. It really has nothing to do with the use permits. So this is only for warrants, which is different than a use permit.
Right.
So that would be fine the way it is.
So I just had an E to capitalize, Board of Zoning Appeals.
Right, she had that.
Okay.
As a primary.
And then an F, capitalize warrants and variances. And then I don't know if concurrent variance is a defined term.
It is.
Okay, so then
Although that's, again, I mean, warrants and variances are, so it's almost like a warrant and variance should be on the first line, not be capitalized. Right, because the defined terms aren't capitalized in the system.
No, no, I know you were saying that they're not capitalized in the system, but then again, I don't know if there's going to be a paper version for somebody, but throughout, like if you just look at 7.4, I mean, page 7.4, this section warrants is capitalized, variance is
Right, I
capitalized
know,
in the
yeah, so
body
I
of
think
each
We'll just have
paragraph.
him like fix it all at the same, all defined terms be one way. And let's not, I mean,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know if you want to, in case he decides to say, let's go with convention and capitalize them, then concurrent variance is a defined term. It should be capitalized.
Okay.
Someone made on this
Uh-huh.
regarding page 3. Those, or will you go back?
Well, I'm gonna give this to Caleb too, so he can look at it. So like he can decide whether, it's appropriate or not appropriate, unless you guys say otherwise or whatever.
Above and beyond this.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, yeah. Next on, so is that all on page 5? Anything else you guys see?
Yeah, B7A.1.6B, just clean up that, it says like identified in table section A by the gross site area.
But if you look in A, right above that, I think it's table 10, section A.
Okay.
I was thrown
Yeah,
off
In
on
that
that too.
section,
Okay.
it is, it's
It
like a
should be-
little A, so
Yeah.
it gets really, but that is correct. So it shouldn't be
I was thrown off
capitalized.
too, I thought.
Okay,
Yeah.
so table 10, section A,
Is a thing.
that is something, but that A doesn't need to be,
I thought it was needed a parenthesis.
Yeah,
but it
parentheses
doesn't.
No,
or-
it's just an A. So it's A with the period, and it just happens to be at the end of but if you look at the table, the uses are divided by different general type of uses, and it'll be like A, B, C, that kind of thing, so.
so is this again something that's going to be like a hyperlink or no?
I'll have to check with him. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I mean, if we have to put hyperlinks and everything, I don't know. I mean, it could be definitely, but I need to talk to him about if every time we refer to a table, then, like this,
Yeah.
it
My-
could be.
My only thought
Make it a
about
lot easier,
linking it, my only thought about linking is you have to go from page 5 to 43 to get to that table. It's not like,
Right.
usually you wouldn't link if it's on the same page, but
Yeah,
it's,
so I think probably.
40
say
page
two
later.
Hyperlinks, yeah.
Again, if you're looking at this online, scrolling down to
Now,
40 pages and then scrolling back up. I mean, yeah, that
It's
doesn't
just
make any,
like
the whole point is to make it, this to be
Yeah,
easy,
so-
use technology.
So I'll talk to him about just hyperlinking all the tables references, so.
are we on 7.6?
Well, help me real quick on C, on 7A16, when it says right here, the very end, C, provided that the maximum density of the transect zone for the site as a whole is established in paragraph B, B above. B above meaning B of this section.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Okay. B above.
Yeah, not the little
Okay.
B or A from,
Not B below, yeah.
okay. So there's another one of paragraph D above, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, indeed, okay.
Okay,
Okay, 7-6.
one, on J, one, parking must be located.
yeah,
And in 1.7B, I don't think there's no need to bold city.
Cities, right, circled it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I do think we always call it the city and not Milton, or the city of Milton, it's just city.
Cities. Yeah.
On 7.7, I learned a new word, recordation.
Where was it?
D1, recordation, it's actually a word. I went to the dictionary because I was like, never heard of that word before. And then I was like, Sumeet'll know if it's a word.
Yes, I have never heard of that one either.
On D of that page, A, 1 TDR per 1 full acre of unconstrained land. Do we define unconstrained land?
Yes.
We
I'm
do?
pretty-
Okay,
yeah.
that's
Let me
fine.
just double check, but
Okay.
let me just check. Yeah, it's includes all land not characterized as constrained. Ha ha ha.
My
So
laziness, I
then,
just
let's
don't
see
go
if they
check
have
it back.
constraint.
We
I had a question about 7.6I. So where it says, contributing historic structures, like, what would that actually mean?
So what happens is contributing historic structures in a historic district or property do not. So we don't really have a historic district, but there are contributing historic properties are, there's a list from 1996. It's a survey and it's actually on the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, their historic section. And we also have it. So if a building in Crabapple, let's say that Victorian white building next to the library, that's a contributing historic structure. So the square footage of that structure does not count toward their density. They get a density bonus by saving the structure.
So are you saying contributing historic structures is a defined term, or is it saying, to contribute a historic structure?
Right, it's not,
Con-
it's not a defined term. It's describing it, contributing historic structures in a historic district, although we probably don't even have historic structure either. I
Well,
think
but,
that might need to be defined because it needs to be defined, so.
and what I'm saying is to kind of clarify what is the intention, like what does the city feel is contributing? What does that mean? What does
Well-
contributing mean?
So there is
So I think
definitions of
it's, I
some of
think if we
this.
get rid of historic district, then I can talk to Kayla, because we'll never have a historic district. We don't even really have an operating HPC, Historic Preservation Commission. But, so I don't think we'll ever have any time in my life, have a historic district. But I think if you took out historic district, it would say contributing, historic properties do not count toward, well, let me talk to Caleb how to rewrite that so it's more appropriate.
Yeah. So like what I'm saying is if you keep again, if we don't have a historic district, that's fine. But if you're developing this property and you're keeping this historic structure, when you say contributing, what does that mean? That means you're not demolishing it, you're not what? Like
Correct,
clarify what that means so that
Yeah.
there's no, it's clear. What does the city mean by contribution? What does that mean?
Right.
I would change maybe contributing and
We'll
kind
work on
of
that.
elaborate, yeah.
Yeah.
7-8?
7?
I don't think we had anything.
Oh, we didn't have anything on 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had, the only one that I asked was unconstrained land.
Okay.
Answered that.
7, 8,
The same thing, constrain land.
7, 8, and E TDR transfers about a little over halfway down. The city may, comma, but is not obligated to, comma. It's kind of like including but not limited to.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
offset with commas.
right here. The
May,
city
comma.
comma.
To, comma.
Yep. City
Just
may,
that one,
comma,
yeah.
but is not obligated to.
Nine.
Seven dash 10.
I don't have any.
Dash 11.
Have these here, don't we?
Yeah,
Already answered
that's, yes. it's in
So-
there.
comments, so
This
those
is
are
the
the ones
actual
I had.
table, so. Yeah.
I think I had is the same that's listed on your comments.
12. Oh, she's still on 11?
Yeah.
Sorry, I gotta just jump back. 7.6. Back to 7.6J1. So it should say the parking must be located within a parking structure.
Yes, we've got that.
You got that already? And then L, allowed in paragraphs J and K.
Yes.
Got that? And then, and then is by TDR need to be, in quotes? By TDR and J, I mean in L?
Right here. By TDR.
I don't think so.
In, right, allowed in, yep, you
Yeah,
got
we got
that.
in. Mhm.
Okay.
As being allowed by, that, should that be in quotes or should just TDR be in quotes?
And I don't even know if TDR needs to be in quotes because throughout, everywhere else, it just says TDR.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
yeah.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah. And
Oh, no, you know what it is in that table, if you look at the table, so there's by right and by TDR, so that's why it's in quotes.
table.
It's in the
That's a
table
title.
reference. If that makes sense, so if you were to reference that table 10,
Okay,
there's a column that says by TDR, so it does need to be that,
got it, okay.
that's why it's
And
different.
then likewise, then, because now we start to talk about TDRs in more detail at the top of 7.6 in 1.7. The usual custom is, the transfer of development rights and then in parentheses, TDR mechanism, and then you can call it TDR from then
Right,
on.
no, I agree.
Yeah.
So maybe just say, maybe it should be in that title, and then that, and then parentheses, and that 7.1.7, and then parentheses TDR, and then we don't even have to repeat it
Yeah,
again.
that's true.
Right. Usually the first time you use an acronym, you spell it out and
Yeah. Actually, he has it up in K. There's already, he did that in K.
K just needs to have, if can go.
Oh, to the
quotes.
left.
we did do it in K.
Yeah,
Okay,
so he already actually did it.
okay.
Yeah.
Such a good idea, we already did it.
I'm sorry, what?
It's such a good idea, we already did it.
Yeah,
Okay, we jumped back, sorry.
That's my bad.
All right, so we are back on 11.
Well, yeah.
11, okay.
for Sumit.
Agree with the last three comments there. It's not a table, and you don't need 4 and 4.
Same as before.
So, when she talked, when it says, under 2.3 Lansing, was it changed? Let's see. We, so I think what we tried to do is we have the same kind of requirement throughout all the different parts of the code when it talks about buffers, so.
So it was there someplace else as applying everywhere, so you just put it here to be clear, so it can all be in one place?
Right. Right, so we just made it, actually, so I'm looking at what's in there, and she says it's not there, that's because we,
Copied it from the common
Yeah,
section where it
it's all the
applied to
same
everything,
thing,
yeah.
anything else on 11?
On 12, there are general requirements, C, each lot must in front a vehicular thoroughfare.
Right,
In front?
yeah,
It's
so that's
defined.
the fancy,
Defined? Okay, thank you.
it's just a fancy
Does
way of
that-
saying things there.
Should have checked some of these.
So in the middle of B1 on that page, under 3.1 B1 in the middle of the paragraph, stub out streets with a maximum length of 150 feet must be provided to provide future connectivity. Is it really provided to allow future connectivity? Provided to provide just seemed a little,
Provided to provide,
Yeah,
yeah,
Let's see.
provided to allow.
shall be provided to provide future connectivity at such, I mean, that's what the original code says, so. Provided to provide future, I mean, it's a little. No, well, a little clumsy, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seven A 32A on the right-hand side, there's a long list of things. So it's R, also considered part of said. You're talking about vehicular lanes, bicycle facilities, equestrian trays are also considered part, not is.
They're what, considered what?
Yeah.
The word are, not is, because there's multiple subjects.
Where provided along with refer are also considered, the very, only the last sentence, I mean,
Oh,
It's also in the comment sheet.
And
yes.
then seven, yes, page 712, B, on the right side, little b, should it be not identified in section A above instead of sentence A above?
Usually it's been paragraph.
Or paragraph 3A, whatever.
I don't see that. That's 7A32B.
7A 3, sorry, 7A.3.1 B 3 B.
3B3.
in all other
3B.
situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I usually see it, yeah.
What was your question?
No, my comment was instead of saying not identified in sentence A above, it should be section or paragraph A or whatever. Not
Be right here.
sentence A.
In all other situations not identified in sentence A above.
Oh, that's hard, yeah.
Paragraph
Maybe I
A.
should have a period, so, right?
Or should it say section?
No,
A?
section A or
Oh,
paragraph,
okay.
yeah.
And for some reason, A is bolded.
And capitalized. Or wait, maybe it's, no, maybe it's 3A.
No, I think it's talking about 3A.
B3A.
B 3A, that's right.
Yeah.
That's what it's
So in the
referencing?
original, it just goes right above, which would be 3A, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so not identified in 3A above, yeah, you could just do that too.
Yeah.
Which I could see why it says just in sentence A above, which is right above it.
Yeah.
Love it.
But it's not, I mean, you wouldn't, I mean, there's nowhere else, I think, where you're saying sentence A above, you know? You're,
Okay.
I
you're
agree.
referencing the section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Section 3A above.
And I'm just realizing, because I had just crossed it out because of this comments, there are references in that, at the end of that, there keeps being references to table 7.1.10. There is no table 7.1. There is no section 7.1. So I don't know what that's describing.
So that is going to be,
Yeah, that's a comment on their list too.
Well, they just wanted to strike
So-
table, but there
No, no.
is, okay.
No, it says
It's
it's 7.110, section B,
7.10.
an actual table.
But it's not a section either.
Yeah, if it's not a section either.
It's not a section. So there's throughout there's references to table 7.1.10, and there is no table 7.1.10, nor is there a section 7.1.10. So I don't know what it's, so it
so
looks,
it's, so I'm looking at the original, and it's the original table 10, which is 7,
1.10.
7 point,
Yeah.
here, 7.
because there's a table 7, private frontages.
be this table 10, 7A 5.12.
which is table
So
10.
it was misidentified.
It's table 10.
Well, but it's 7A-5-12 table 10. So,
And in other sections, we just called it table 10.
okay. Yeah,
So the other,
so we'll just say table 10, section B.
yeah. And then it was also referenced that way in another place. On page 11, it was also referenced the same way, and it should be referenced. So way back on page 11, E1 at the top references table 7.1.10, section B, and it should just be table 10, section B,
Yeah,
with a link.
Yes. They all need links. Yeah.
That was on her list too.
okay, okay.
She
At least
thought,
on the-
she thought it was referring to a section
Right.
and crossed out table.
She was like, is this a table?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is a table, but it's not called 7.1.
But on 712, 3A, at the end, and towards the end of that paragraph, it says prescribed in table B section, table 10, section B. So
Right.
it is identified
just
right
mixed
there.
Correct in
It's
some
right there, yeah.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you, got the
Yeah, it
hyperlink.
just has to be consistent.
Yeah.
And correct.
and correct. Okay.
Okay, 713.
Well, I have, on F and G, on F, we say rear alleys must be paved for their width. Then on G, rear lanes may be paved lightly. How would you describe paved lightly?
So I think it's because it's driveway standards versus rear alleys are more like standard roads.
Well, rear alleys may be paved, I understand that, but then it turns to rear lanes, which I don't know what rear lanes,
So there's different definitions of them, so
okay, that's
lanes and
fine,
alleys.
okay,
Um,
that I'll go with, but must be paved lightly to driveway
I know, yeah.
standards.
Rear
I
lanes
just,
shall consist of gravel or landscaped edges and have no raised curve. It's just a different type of,
Is it how thick the paving is?
yeah,
well, that's what I was trying to,
yeah.
just, that's what I mean, do you need a definition, difference between,
I
Yeah.
don't, we can ask. It's in the original stuff here. It's in the original verbiage of crabapple form-based code, because I'm looking at it
I was
right
just
now.
trying to define.
Yeah, it does, is kind of distracting because it really is maybe paved to driveway standards. Don't confuse me.
The other one I had, I'm sure I'll be told, is under 7A33B, intersections by the addition of sidewalk. That's that bulbouts?
Bulb out.
Bulb outs.
Bulbouts.
Bulb outs, yeah.
Doing on
A bulb out extends the sidewalk or curb line out into the parking lane, which reduces the effective street width. sometimes used like when they're putting a accessibility ramp where it kind of extends
yeah.
into the street. That's a bulb out.
Thank you.
Seven dot 14.
And one I had, and I'm sure it's defined, is slip road. It's 783.5 under
Yes, it
Three.
is, it is defined.
defined, thank
It
you.
is, mhm.
Okay. And then D, that group, street trees must be planted in a regular spaced alley pattern.
LA pattern.
That
It's-
is a pattern that,
It's a,
I'm
I think
sure
it's
it's
defined, I think it's
defined, but I
defined
just,
as well, right?
And it is, it is defined, and it's this idea, like, when you're trying to place it so it makes a cathedral of trees, so you place it like an alley. Or it's a common term, I think it's a French term of, spacing the trees somewhat uniform to create a alley.
Right.
That's
right.
like, it's just a fancy alley.
I comes from Indiana. We didn't know what they called it.
About 7-15.
That's alley.
But it's bordered by trees. Bushes. I never knew this would be such a vocabulary expanding experience.
Exactly.
Bulb outs, alleys, recordation.
Then just that little bit there on 7-16.
They go to 16.
Yeah, there's only
16.
two paragraphs.
Two
so-
paragraphs.
If you get back and maybe it reached, okay, under B, civic spaces down 5B, undisturbed natural, but vegetative buffers along, shouldn't that be streams?
Mhm.
Yes. Undisturbed natural vegetated buffers along streams, yes.
All right, had to back up. That's on 16.
Well, 717,
Yeah.
on 17 at D, the 4.2D, where it says, the last sentence, conformance with the specifications of this code. Does this code apply here, or is it that article? Oh, I guess we're going to change it everywhere, though, right?
What's one of many, Article 7A.
Sorry, yep.
And I'd mark that this code too.
718,
That was the one I was talking about earlier, that under 7A 4-4, that I'd mark that extra E, then I realized it was table 10, section E, that E except. Got me.
Which page, 17?
Yeah, it's okay.
right, but you are
Earlier
right.
We were
Yeah.
saying,
See right here where it says table 10, section E, except on 18?
I just saw that extra E in there and circled it. It belongs there.
Having those at hyperlinks will help, certainly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Seven eighteen, number 8, section 8, A8. It should be must be at least 12 feet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, I caught that one
where
too.
the other E came in, yeah.
Yeah. On 718, under 4.4A4, the comma after principal building can be struck. One principal building at the frontage and one outbuilding to the rear of the principal building may. It does not need another comma.
Okay. Right here. That comma. Mhm. Moving on to 19.
So on 19, on number 7, on the upper right, I thought that was worded a little awkwardly because you were giving a greater height. So would it read better to say a first-level residential function may not be raised more than 6 feet from the average sidewalk grade unless a greater height is approved? Because it's kind of like it can be raised to maximum. I just thought it was a little, I had to reread it several times. I guess a may and then an unless was kind of like, I'm used to a may not unless.
Okay, so what's your, say
So
that
my
again.
recommendation is may not be raised more than 6 feet. From the average unless a greater height is approved.
Okay,
Because usually if you have an unless, it's a may not unless, not a may unless.
yeah.
And number, section 1, should that be instead of the word but, should it be a but? B-U-T-T.
But I think it's being used as a verb, isn't it? Because a butt is along, and they're trying to say, no, you can jut out.
Must butt into the primary volume?
Yeah.
Sorry, where is it?
Right here. So
I was
one right
looking for
here.
it.
See where it
Must
says,
roof.
secondary volumes must butt into the primary volume?
But it maybe is
it's
supposed to
okay
be
that
a
way.
butt.
It's supposed to be that way?
Let me check a butt.
But yeah, must have butt into, or a butt
Because-
into the primary volume.
Because butting somebody is more hitting them. Whereas a butt is next to, not. So a butt is to be next to, and I think this idea is you can jut out. Maybe the right word is jut. Jut means to extend out over beyond the main body or line, so. So butt means they need to be up against each other,
Right. Mhm.
but it really should be a butt, I think. Jut means they go into. Because they're talking about the secondary butting into, but butt by definition is next to. Jut means you go into. So I'm not clear if it's kind of one of those, yes, I want to hang over, or no, I can't hang over, because that's the difference between jut and butt.
Like a join? Join? I don't know. I mean, I can just ask them if there's a better word.
Well, part of it, I don't even know, are you trying to say you can't extend, or are you trying to say you must extend? But,
So
But-
buildings must consist of simple rectangular forms. There must be one primary volume with optional secondary volumes. Secondary volumes must butt into the primary. Basically, they need to be on top of each other. So that's, when you look at it, buildings must consist of simple rectangular forms. There must be one primary volume with optional secondary volumes. Secondary volumes must butt into primary volume. The
So-
roof form of the primary volume must clearly dominate. Secondary roof, I mean, they usually like sit on top of each other, so
well,
like,
then that should be a butt, A-B-U-T.
okay.
Right.
I mean, I'll double check with,
And if you want them to
Bob,
overlap,
but I think it would be a but. From what he describes when we look at architecture and what it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
that's my impression. But
because a butt means they're next to each other. Jut means they encroach into the other. And butt is actually a word that means you're hitting somebody.
yeah,
Under, under 4, the word prescriptions for second and third layers, is that a common term? Prescriptions for finding what the second and third floor should look like?
Which number are you on?
it's
Number
4
4.
below, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. That's the pharmacist mind coming out.
Exactly. Never had heard it used in those terms.
I mean, descriptions for this.
Can you say,
Principal.
But is it, but wait, but is it saying in table 12 prescriptions?
yeah,
I don't think so, but
It's-
we
it's-
can
it's-
look.
it's-
okay.
I don't know.
Let's
Prescriptions.
see on table 12, see what it is.
So one of the definitions of prescriptions is also a recommendation that is authoritatively put forward.
Growth zone frontages. There is nothing saying prescriptions on table 12, but what did you say one of the definitions were?
One of the definitions of prescription is a recommendation that is authoritatively put forward.
I think that's what it is.
So in other words, like the director is telling them how to do it.
Right, and that's what the table 12, it's definitions illustrated. That's what table 12 is. They're illustrated definitions. So it shows like setbacks and, dimensions and everything. So I think that's fine. It's just a fancy word for it, I guess.
Just, it's a little stronger than a requirement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm being very prescriptive about this. I'm telling you actually how to
Right.
do it. Prescriptive. I'm telling you exactly how to do it with authority. My mother used to be very prescriptive on some
Right.
things.
All right, moving to 720.
I don't know why all of a sudden we started italicizing the tables in the second column. It's almost,
Yeah.
and then down on 4-7-2, in all other locations, comma, fences. We just need to add a comma after locations. And I have to say, I read that going, I don't know what these fences and walls are supposed to look like, because
So what happens is,
they're solid and then they're
so it's
semi-solid.
solid and then there's a bunch of them back here where they have like the lattice,
A
the
grid
cross
work.
lattice, and that's like the 50%.
Okay.
I have one under D, 3, the absence of a building facade along any part of a frontage line. A street screen must be built coplanar with the facade.
So it's on the plane, like a parallel. So, building facade, in the absence of a building facade along any part of a frontage line, a street screen must be built coplanar with the facade.
In the absence of a building,
And coplanar then is not hyphenated. Coplanar simply
Right.
means lying on the same plane and there's no hyphen.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
hyphen.
Yep.
so that's, I'm not sure, because it should be like maybe be built coplanar with the frontage line. You know what I mean? Because if you don't have a facade,
Facade,
you
if
don't
you
have
don't have
a
a
What's
building
what he
facade.
gonna
facade,
do?
you
Right,
can't,
right.
yeah.
So we'll
Yeah, that's
ask-
good. Good catch on that.
I'm sure the word chamfered is
That's you.
word chamfered capitalized on.
So what, are we still on 20?
Yes, it's defined.
Okay.
yes. Um, Can we move to 21?
21 up in the top on 6. So it says that retaining walls above 3 feet high must have a continuous.
But I put have in.
Yeah,
Also a
Yeah,
3
they
feet
can-
high nest.
I was kind of surprised. It's like, okay, the wall is 3 feet high. And in other places, we said how high the evergreens need to be. Can these evergreens be 6 inches high? Or was the idea we're trying to hide the wall? Like, how high do if it's above 3 feet, because in other places we say, in
So
other
what we're
places.
gonna do is we're gonna make this consistent. Actually, we have a text amendment right now where we're gonna, anything that refers to retaining walls, we're gonna have the same
It's next.
requirement.
Okay,
So we're gonna take care of that. So-
right. And it'll say the evergreens need to be at least.
Well, I mean, we're a little more general than ever, it just has,
I
there's
think
a
it just
certain.
must be screened with evergreens and
Well,
not have
yeah,
a,
that's actually not, it's whatever the
continu- I
retaining,
mean,
it's
mu-
coming
oh,
to
that's
you the
right.
next month, so.
Okay.
yeah,
It
oh,
has to-
it is
It's
get to
coming
fix
out of
it.
the
Must have a
retaining wall, it's under the
a
retaining
row of
wall.
continuous evergreens or something.
Well, so this is what it's gonna be, it's, I know there's so many versions of it, but, what we're gonna do is, we're tweaking the retaining wall section. Working on it today. Says retaining walls shall be landscaped to mitigate any adverse visual impacts. Plant species shall be selected to preserve the structural integrity of the wall. A planting plan shall be submitted to and approved by the city arborist. So that's what's gonna be.
Then we don't
the
have, yeah, she
standard.
can say 6 inches is.
Yeah, every situation might be a little different. I
Yeah.
mean, it might be a pretty wall at 5 feet. Maybe you don't want to cover it all, but you want to soften it up kind of thing, so. Okay.
Over on the right-hand side in 7A48, refresh me, is stormwater management covered in section 2? I thought 2 was more generic stuff, and stormwater was in 11, but I'm doing all that from memory. Been so long ago, but I thought section 2 of the UDC was not. Do you have all the sections we've reviewed with, yeah. Can you just double check, because
Yeah, I will.
somewhere,
I'll go
Yeah.
online.
for some reason, I thought stormwater got moved to 11. Because that's where a lot of that, that's where a lot of that water stuff is. And maybe it needs
So
to
it's
say 2
general
and 11.
provisions, so 2.5, there is a stormwater management facilities must conform to section 11.4.
Oh, so why don't we just, rather than say go to 2.3.5 and then go to 11.4, just say go to 11.4? That's what I thought. So yeah, this is saying go to 2.3.
Well, I think there's some more design stuff on, I mean, above ground stormwater management facilities must be must be in the least conspicuous area of the site as engineering standards allow, must be designed to, so I don't know if this
So should we say?
11.4, let me go to it and see what it says.
Yeah, and then 11.4, I know since I looked at it, got it reverted back to the state standards.
Yeah, so that's all the state stuff. So I think it refers to that, but then the next paragraph goes into more like
Okay. There's more
design
than just,
oriented.
yeah, but the last thing we need to do is say, go to 2.3.5, that sends you to 11.4 directly. But if there's,
Whereas 11.4 is much more technical and engineering wise, so. But it is, yeah. So we don't want them to forget about the aesthetics part. so.
right. This is more aesthetics, okay.
Anything else on 21?
22.
Oh, I had an interesting question on 4.8E at the end, which talked about all the places that have to have a bike rack. Do they?
What about it? The bike rack?
So all offices, retail, civic, multifamily buildings, which has to have a bike rack. My question is, I don't know that I've ever reviewed a plan that showed a bike rack for every 10 vehicle spaces. We have any bike racks?
We do have bike racks. There are bike racks.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I didn't know yet.
Although, to be honest,
They're not at that standard?
I'm not sure if they're providing at least one
One for every
bicycle for every
10.
10 spaces, yeah. I think that's a little much,
It is
to
a
be
little
on.
much.
But
That might be one we put on the list to say, is
Yeah.
for
that a
policy,
reasonable?
Policy
Yeah,
change.
kind of like, do we want to review that and say, maybe it's
yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
onerous.
1 to 5?
I mean, it's like over here where they're doing the parking garage, if they have 200 spaces, they're gonna need 20 parking,
I mean, 20
20
bicycles.
bicycle
bike.
spaces. You're never gonna have that many people. This is not Denmark, so.
Yes, or Amsterdam. Yeah, but that was my first thing is, I don't think we have that many bike racks.
Okay, so 22. Else,
So up on the upper right, it has a chapter, reference to chapter 22 of the code of the city of Milton, so I assume we can link that?
yeah.
On to 23.
You know, I'm not a big fan of bolding and underlining and italicizing, but I'm wondering in F if we should say the following species and emphasize not, or if that's,
Oh, yeah, or at least underline or something. Yeah, I agree with that. And what caught my eye, just because I know, on the prohibited species list, down where Elaeagnus is spelled two separate ways. It should be Elaea. So this one right here just needs to be spelled correctly,
The top one or the bottom
the
one?
top one. Laea.
Never got it.
Plant their English ivy?
They're thorny olive. Okay, and on to 24.
I think under B1 and B2, it should be or as approved by the director, because the idea was that, I mean,
so is that another one that we need to say we should amend it? Put it on the list to amend?
Let me check what it is.
One on 78413 is the question about the sale of goods. It refers back to Article 8. Does Article 8 allow that in the, like in
In crabapple?
space? Otherwise, we couldn't, if it doesn't refer to that, we couldn't have any.
And if I recall, they went through and did a text amendment to say, no, we're not letting you, that specifically talked about, you can only, like, if a clothing store wants to have quote unquote a sidewalk sale, it has to be under the awning and
Yes.
so many feet and,
Correct.
It's the same thing, but I don't know. Why would we say as approved by the community development director if there was a specific type poll and thing? So I think we'll check to see.
yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Well,
Why
but-
would you, I mean, if this is the only one, why would you need it to be approved by
but
the?
as we've recently found, sometimes they're changing these
I know, but
models to
it
something
doesn't
different.
say or as. It just says as approved. Say or as approved. Like if you want to do something different. I don't disagree that we need that flexibility.
Right.
So,
Well, I can remember back when this first started, the ruling was nothing. We first started, retail wise could be outside. So-
right, okay, I'm sorry, I'm just finishing up on this
Oh,
lighting.
okay.
So,
I'm-
where's the section that you're talking
So
about?
right to the right of this, right here,
Okay, outdoor storage,
A and B.
yeah. No, this is what we just did. This is what we just did a ordinance to. This is correct. We did it like 5 months ago.
Right.
Yeah, so he has that in here.
Okay. And it is has it been incorporated
So
into
there's
8
certain,
yet?
so there's certain ways of storing things in 8, which is the use, like administrative permits and whatever. So
Right,
yes, that's
okay.
how we wrote it.
Okay.
Well, I, prior to the last meeting, had a lot of questions on 7A 415. But since there was problems and we are having a gas station now,
They had complied, this
Did
new
it
development
comply to all
complies with
these?
all, yeah,
okay.
yep. Yep.
I'd had that question.
Oh, yeah, we were gonna bring you the plan
Before.
too.
Oh, yeah.
Before that.
Oh, right,
came
when
up.
you heard
See,
about this, it's like, oh
yeah,
no, what gas station?
say, We don't need this. We can't have those.
Yeah, no, it's not, you can't see, there's buildings in front of the canopies. You can't see the gas and canopies.
Yeah, my first comment was, is this realistic? But it must be because we're putting one in.
Yes.
Okay.
There's other places. So, down on Howell Mill, they have a new QT where the QT building's in front of the canopy. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, I had on
Okay,
24.
25.
On page 725, is there a reason why in C, right column, that section, the 7A 1.1 is not highlighted in blue? It's just sections highlighted in blue, or SEC period? Right
Oh,
here.
here. Oh, it's just probably,
Yeah. And I think the yellow highlighting on the second line is an error. They must have had a link and took it out because they were just
Yeah.
referring to right above.
And the yellow highlight just before that too, like in section A, the yellow between of this code. See right
Yeah.
here? 26?
In the facade, so I'll take that out. Oh, at the top of the page.
Okay. 27?
Okay.
Say about the mulls and mullions the last time around. Discussion. Whatever Bob said.
Yeah. 28? No? All right, now we start into our tables.
Yeah. Y'all have any things on the tables?
I actually found one.
Oh, wow.
On 730, at the very bottom in number G, slip, you have roads capitalized, but slip roads is actually, slip road is a
Oh,
capital,
yeah.
is a
Yep.
defined term.
Yep, good catch.
I must admit, I went through that very rapidly.
I can't hear you. What?
I said, I have to admit, I went through this very, very rapidly,
Oh, that's okay.
this part.
I have something on 40 when you get there.
30, I had some on 39, but it's covered in the,
Said 40?
So in B, convention is you only use an ampersand if it's part of an abbreviation, so you should spell out the ampersand. And then I don't know, down in F at the end, I don't know what SYN retail, I don't know what SYN : means at the very end of F. On page 40?
It's also on C too, dooryard, sin,
Yeah. It's
It's
dooryard.
synonymous.
Synonymous, yeah.
Well, then, let's, I guess we should spell that out. Or say also applies to dooryard. Was the idea that this was to say it? Yeah, because I didn't know I thought it was synonym, but, or synonymous. I'd spell it out.
Okay. Few extra letters, huh?
All right, and then 41. Not much on 42, then we move to 43.
So obviously on 42, we need a link for section 8.2 since we removed the table here. But what's interesting, on page 41, we say see table 9, but table 9 says see 8.2.2.
Right.
So back on 41, on the last two, instead of see table 9, it should be see section 8.2.2. Because 9 got moved.
Okay.
Bottom of 44, either bold the whole sentence, italicize, yeah, because it's like, and maximums lost its bolding, so if that was supposed to be italicized
I
or
don't see the
something.
use table. Wait a minute, wait a minute. I don't see 8 point. It's usually right after the code summary. 8 point. So it's like there's no, oh, that's because it's in the use table over there. I
Yeah.
get it. Okay.
Got moved to a different article. Tracy, you caught the no bold at the bottom of
I
744?
did, I sure did, yes, on 44.
Okay.
And then I think it was picked up in the other comments, when you get to 44 and 45, all of a sudden the wording starts to be justified right and left, and the convention has been just to justify left, which is why you have all those extra spaces. So those can all be left justified.
On 45?
On 44 and 45, all the teeny tiny words like under building configuration, they're justifying it, so it left and right justifies, spreads it out.
Oh, yes.
And our convention has been to just left justify.
Yeah, okay.
So, but that is left justified. I don't understand.
Well, see right here? It's not there.
Well, that's because I think he's explained that he's got like a column and then it spreads it out.
He can, yeah, but he can left justify the left
Okay.
column. He just needs to set it to left justify rather than. And then on 46, at the very top in the building configuration on 2, we start by saying may not exceed 14 feet, spelling out feet, and then we talk about a minimum of 17 FT. Convention, spell out feet.
Yep, see that?
Because, because it either needs to be FT period or just spell it out, I think is easier.
$47?
The prescriptions.
Yeah.
Now that we've all passed Architecture 101, so on 48,
Yeah,
in the first paragraph at the top, use TNG, I would just spell out tongue and groove.
I don't see that. Where's that?
On 48,
Right?
up here, first paragraph on the right, about the 8th line down, 9th line down, TNG plank siding,
Oh, yes, yes.
Tongue
yes,
and
yes,
groove.
yes, yeah, yeah,
and then on 52, please refer to the City of Milton Historic Preservation Design Guidelines. We need a link.
52, sorry.
On 52 at the very end.
Oh, yeah, that's my.
Once you find them.
I got them.
Oh, you did find them?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was saying. I just, yeah, I have them.
Yeah.
But, yes, thank you. Interesting, okay. Hi.
50.
So whatever we said for 7A applies to 70.
I wish.
Exactly.
yeah.
Ditto.
Yes.
Two-minute stretch, 30-second stretch break.
Yeah. Take a little break.
You were wise to bring caffeine.
What's that? I'm sorry.
You were wise.
I cannot hear in this
You were
room.
wise to bring caffeine. Okay.
Out of the option, I wanting to be over there instead of here, but up here, so.
Going on green.
Yeah.
Wonder if they're decimals.
That app and check it.
We can check.
Juan's gonna check
I
it.
got the.
Other discussion. As the standard is 85 decibels. Protection for 85 decibels.
Oh, we're not being.
Okay, I want to go on the record that I don't think Ron made a single noise over there since you already reviewed 7A and 7B earlier. Yeah. Oh, that was a good idea. Were they? Yeah.
Get cross-eyed.
Oh, no. I know, like, when I was doing, if you can imagine it, when you look forward to 8 with all those tables, and I'm going to the original tables, and then they decided to take 2 lines and merge them into one, and it's like, okay, now I have to go back to actually see, was that the use for libraries or other things?
Ron, did you go back and see that email that I called you on? About our friend down the street.
I had to remind him we were live at
So next.
and Article 8.
Compared to this.
And Article 8,
It doesn't matter.
which,
At least starting, and I think I split it up.
this was 129 pages. That's only 119.
I can't
Yeah, I don't
remember
think
what
you
my
did.
script
I don't
was.
think you did.
Because I know it's pretty. What's that?
I was gonna.
Oh, dense.
Darn it.
Yes.
Okay. Email from Robin. So. Nope. Well, actually, you did split up because you did the provisions first. So Article 8 use provisions, first meeting, second meeting. So you probably want to tell us how far to read ahead. Pardon? Yeah. I have to say, I will go, I will go back to, I will bring my original notes because I spent hours double checking these. Because like I said, some of them got consolidated, like, if there used to be, let's say, a separate line, or they aren't in the same order, so it was like,
123 pages.
the first 24 pages are tables.
Right. I mean, I mean,
We just kind of need to know how far to read.
the accessory uses are pretty, it's 100 and,
Well, accessories are 20 pages.
could do. The next planning commission will have an actual use permit again, but it won't be too hard. It's a alternative.
Four-person alternatives.
Housing for 4 people. I don't think that'll take too long.
So do you want us to go up to, you want us to go through adult entertainment establishments and stop there?
Right.
That's halfway.
Like up through 8.4, like through
Yeah.
45. I think with the tables will be
Yeah.
pretty
Okay.
dense.
So Fred, for our next meeting, for 8, we're just going to do 8.1 through 8.45.
So I'll just say that, I'll write that down.
Point.
So I'll just send it to you. Well, I'll send the whole thing and then I'll make a note. It'll just be through 8-40. Up through 8:45.
Yeah, I noticed how we're rushing to get back to 7B. So I'll start
Yeah,
with
we
one
can
set of
start.
comments of, I don't know why they look different formatting. One has bolds,
Yeah,
one doesn't. I don't know which one he's going to stick
yeah, it's
with.
all totally different, yeah. I'm sure
Yeah.
he'll fix that.
Yeah,
will-
so just format that.
Yeah.
And it was intentional that 7B picks up its numbering from the end of 7A. And if so, then it needs to start on page 60. Because it's 7A stops at 59.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it should be, unless there's, yeah, I don't know what that is. Good point.
So it either needs to be 1 or 60.
Okay.
But I guess he's calling it, instead of calling it 7A-1 and 7B-1, he's just calling it 7. And therefore,
But I would think it'd start at 1 again, but,
yeah, that's what was throwing. I think he had, because the comments on the Excel spreadsheet talks about page 7B, page 1.
yeah, I think it's supposed to be, so let me look at the.
Either 1 or 60. And then on the top right,
Oh, yeah, so it's, on the Conveo, it's it's continuing with the higher number, not with one, so I don't know, we'll
So
figure it
it
out.
should be 60.
So it would be 60.
Yeah, and it should be 60 unless there's some invisible pages we don't know about.
And then at the top of that page, table 7B 5.2, non-conforming does not have a hyphen. Page, I'm going to go with the numbering I have, 72. Again, the whole, this code gets struck. And I would say that basically same comments as 7A.
Okay.
Section.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm reflecting on it here, I'm not. What do you folks think?
Yeah, maybe, well, we'll just have to they'll just have to be consistent, because I think in other places, comprehensive plan wasn't capitalized.
Was or was not?
Was not, I don't, it seems to me, because I think that was a suggestion in some of the other sections.
So,
It just has to be consistent, but yeah.
Yeah. And linked and all that other kind of stuff.
Right.
Because comprehensive plan is a defined term.
Yeah, but if we do everything lower, then, and like on on 7-73, like all the transect zone but we're just gonna say the code be the same as 7A.
Yeah. Yeah. In this Article 7A. So at the bottom of page 72, somehow there was a space after the capital D.
Yeah.
Because that's
Oh,
supposed to
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
definitions illustrated, of course, the same thing, with it's a title, so quote it, but somehow that got split over 2 pages.
Yeah.
And then likewise, add the P on the map link.
The P on what? I'm sorry.
We were gonna, on page 72, we were gonna have a link to the map for the
Right, so I had just have
Yeah.
same as 7A,
Yeah.
all the same.
regulating
comments.
plan.
Oh,
Yeah,
the letter P,
7A.
yes.
Oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
And I don't understand on the bottom of 773 why we have a page break there. Because it's continuing the paragraph on 774, so no page break at the bottom of 773.
yeah. So, and I think too, when all this gets codified, that it's all gonna be or they have their own,
Respace and stuff.
yeah.
So on 74, is that where we're at?
Turn the page.
Yeah, so a lot of these are doing page breaks where they shouldn't, like, there's no reason or other should have a page break to extraordinary.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry.
All the pages have page breaks and they shouldn't,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's doing
I didn't
weird
know
things
that's
to
what you had said on
sentences.
the first one, 'cause I
Yeah,
kept-
it's on every page where the page
Yeah,
breaks
Yeah,
are
we'll make
just
that
fix it, yeah.
in middle of sentences.
I got on them, I think it was between 75 and 76. And it finally dawned on me that what I was reading didn't make any sense. Then I backed up and saw that it was split every time.
Right.
Four was okay.
So where, anybody, what's?
75?
So I think all this stuff is gonna be basically this, well, at least when they get to TDRs, it's all gonna be the same.
Yep.
Whatever.
Which we didn't have a lot on TDR, so.
No.
Did we move off 75?
What about 75?
No, it just, I only had a question that I couldn't get to. It was on under H3, the function and use required.
What about it?
Does it, no. I had trouble defining it, finding it.
Right. So the use table, so that's the same thing, the section 8, it's in Article 8,
Oh, okay.
because that's the use table. So instead of putting the use table for the form-based codes, they're in the next article we're gonna talk about. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what that is.
Should this be capital F and use, if both of them?
Probably, yeah,
Yeah.
capital U.
You.
But I'm like up to anything, now we're gonna start on anything in between.
Well,
Up to
it's
80.
minor, but on 78, see right here where it says step 1 calculation, it's just the continuation of that underline. Note that. Step 1.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
$79?
I didn't have anything.
What page are you guys looking at now?
I was on 79.
Okay.
On 80, it's again, I'm getting check it back on A, or 7B21A7, the zone where the maximum height of the buildings is 12 stories. That,
In Deerfield, yeah.
Yeah, there is a maximum height of 12 stories in Deerfield. It's T6.
T6, over there where all the, off Morris. There's a multi-story. There's
We
just
don't
a
have any
couple.
12 stories, but we're allowing it up
okay,
to them.
well, that, where I got confused.
But it's just,
Oh, I had a different number, so.
Eighty-one, eighty-two,
I guess we can hyperlink that, chapter 22.
No, on 83, I had the same question as it relates to rear alleys and rear lanes. So it's all repeat.
yep.
Oh, see table.
It's italics. Mhm. 84,
But did we give you guys Article 8 yet? No.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
it was part of our pile.
Yeah, it was part of
Okay,
this.
I'm just making sure, I was thinking I did that.
Oh, that's where we divided it,
Okay.
845.
Okay. 5.
Say 86 yet?
Yep.
86.
Yeah.
Under E, specific to State Route 9. 1, it says, lower than 35 miles per hour must include a sidewalk at least 8 feet.
At least,
Be
yeah.
at least.
Yep, good catch, at least.
Eighty-eight. Nine.
Oh,
90?
Okay, 91.
So on 91 and number 8, and comparing it to 7A, same wording. And this might be part of that language he's using, because here it says rear setbacks for outbuildings are at least 12 feet. Whereas in 7A, it said must be at least 12 feet. So is that part of that change in convention of not using the must?
I think so.
You can check it though.
Okay.
So you might want to go back to 7A on page 18. No, say number 8 to say, are they, rather than must be, is he looking to have, or at least?
Right. Anyone?
$92?
Okay. I did not hear any. Can you put your thing up? I cannot. I'm so sorry. I'm like,
In 93 in the upper left-hand corner, there's a list of things, motels, animal care, and so forth. Could we just alphabetize those? It might make it easier for someone walking through here looking for something
oh,
specific.
alphabetize it, yeah.
Alphabetize that list.
And then I just had a question about, is all group living, is that something, I mean, is that has a meaning?
So this is specific to,
There is a,
all
there
were
is a
all
defined
group
use of
living.
group living in the use table.
Yeah, I
Page
think-
29. Group living includes alternative senior housing, boarding and room houses, convalescent homes, group residences, personal care homes, assisted living. So there is this concept of group
Group
living
living,
in
all
a
group, okay. So I don't even know if the word all is needed, then is it just group living?
Yeah,
If it's,
well, then it has all vehicular.
I mean, if it's a defined term, then
Maybe
obviously,
it's because there's multiple items under that category, because it's like animal care, a motel, hotel, school, private, because everything else is listed like singularly, and that those two, vehicular and group living, have multiple uses under the subset. There's multiple vehicular.
Vehicles.
uses.
okay.
I don't know, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, anyway, I mean, obviously, again, going back to the same thing with linking it and, capitalizing it and all that, so somebody can go
Right,
back to
right.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Further on 93.
So is B as well. I circled all three.
No.
B, C, and D. Mhm. Yeah.
So, and that's one, whereas it's permitted in Deerfield, it's not on 5 Acre Road, if I understand.
right, so 5 Acre has a bunch of exceptions.
The zone,
It's
right?
like
5
a
acres.
special district.
It's, that's why it's special.
5 acres, okay. Zone.
And then at the bottom of 93, which will all probably fixes all the other page breaks, but he's got a header that's separate from his following, so. But that might resolve itself when he fixes all the page breaks.
Point about, we have 5 acre road zone.
That's what they're saying, yeah. 5 acre road zone, yeah, there's a 5 acre
road
zone.
Is that like a special district or is that just a zone? And
So let's see if it's,
We talked about it earlier.
it's zone, regardless of transect zone. It's
Got it later. I said
5
keep it
acre
off the record.
zone. Yeah, so it's 5 acre zone, yeah. It's kind of, and then it was comma, special district, but that's something else.
Yeah.
so.
so it is a defined term. It's an area shown on the regulating plan with specific requirements that were identified in the Highway 9 North Vision Plan. So it's another one of those that it should be somehow on the map, that you know what it is.
I'm sorry, say that again?
In the definitions, it's an area shown on the Deerfield Highway 9 regulating plan which we know that is now just a box, with specific requirements that were identified in the Highway 9 North Vision Plan. So it sounds to me almost like the Crossroads overlay, like it has specific things, but it's not necessarily a special district.
Just remember conversations about it, that I didn't know where or when.
Where, I mean, I know there's other places. I thought you said it was defined in definitions. I don't see.
It is, 5 Acre Road is 5
Right,
acre.
right, I know 5 Acre Road is, but I thought you said special district.
No, so, like when we were talking the other things, there was this, like Mayfield is going to be a special district that has an exemption. So is this like a special district?
Special.
Well, I think when we were talking about Mayfield, the district at Mayfield is going to be outlined kind of similarly like we have 5 Acre.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get these concept of there's special districts
Yeah,
and
the
then
special
there's
districts is-
zones
Exactly, that's.
and if we can't understand it, I don't know how we explain.
Um, Because in 1.3, it talks, well, back, in the beginning, it talks about special districts. So it says, areas that by their intrinsic character cannot conform to the requirements of any transect zone are designated as special districts. Special districts shall be governed by standards approved by the mayor and city council at the time of their designation. Special districts, which standards may be specifically prepared for the particular special district, or may be the same standards as described elsewhere. This code is specifically, if specifically identified by the mayor and city council, is being applied to except otherwise specifically identified in Article 3. It's almost like it's referring to, it kind of describes 5 Acre as a special district.
Yeah.
But
But it's not really. It's
not.
yet another thing. Okay. We could, I'm fine with it. It's this idea that it has special rules. But it's not a
Why'd you-
special
yeah.
district and it's not.
Zone.
It's a zone.
But while we were right there,
Yeah, but generally, yeah,
Consistent.
like you said, yeah, zone, special district.
a grid thoroughfare,
Which page are you on?
same page.
The following elements must be
B.
screened from view of any A grid. A few pages before that, it was referring to B, A grid and B grid. So I think it refers to, hang on, let me find that. Uh,
Just didn't remember seeing a grid.
Yeah, A grid, if you look back on,
I believe you.
oh, I just saw it. Huh,
What page you on? 93?
You know what that's at, Robin, the A grid and
Oh,
B
no wonder
grid?
why I can't figure out where you are.
94B? Okay, a grid thoroughfare.
Following home.
It's probably it's a public works thing, probably.
Yeah, so back on page 780,
Oh, it is defined.
it's talking about,
Okay. It's defined, so we're okay.
right, the A bit,
Yeah.
thoroughfares and A
Judy
grid and
said,
B grid.
Thank you.
A grids are pedestrian supportive quality, have pedestrian supportive quality and connectivity. walk.
I hadn't seen it, then, but
B-Grid is not supportive of pedestrian. Why don't they just say pedestrian supportive and
Moving to page 95.
moving on.
Moving on.
Moving
Moving to
on.
95, I've got in B where it says shrubs must be moderately growing, comma, A at least.
Right, I got that too. And
Hmm.
then is it still 42 inches or is it 3.5 feet? To keep it consistent, because then you go on to say 6 feet.
We say 42 inches and all the other ones too.
We do,
yeah,
not feet.
not
They don't
feet,
put it in feet,
inches.
but then they go on to say 6
Then
feet.
why say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the idea of trying to avoid halves.
Okay.
And, unless it's 3.5.
They're just talking about
Otherwise, it would
42
be
inches and not feet.
3.5
We want to avoid
feet,
the halves, so it would be 42 inches. Or to the
3.5,
height of
maybe
shrubs.
3.5. That's
Yeah,
easy.
but I think they're pretty consistent on these evergreens
Especially
at
if it's
42 inches.
Got it.
I mean,
Okay.
3.5 feet.
Okay.
Should be 42 inches.
Right.
Okay.
And then in A on the right side, should be off-street parking for all transit zones is
Oh, yeah,
required.
good catch.
Yeah.
Required. All right, 96.
Also, on that same page, note, as what Judith said about the rack of one bicycle for every 10 vehicle.
Yes, I'll note that.
Don't see that in a 12-story building, do you?
$97. I've
Just-
got the same Ellie Agnes
Yeah.
spelling.
Got it.
Subsection's not hyphenated, is it? I don't think subsection is supposed to be hyphenated.
C,
C.
which one is C? I don't even know if it needs to be subsection anyway, or should it just say section?
Should be just section.
So, and then on C, the entire site must be brought into conformance.
Oh, yes, yep.
And then, I mean, I don't know if you need a colon after the third line, comply with the following illumination levels. And same thing for like number 1 and 2. I don't know if you actually need like a colon. Areas for display of outdoor merchandise.
I don't know.
They weren't doing colons earlier. I was noticing there were lists earlier without colons. In fact, they had periods, but, yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, at least, yeah, broad and maybe not even sub, just call it section.
Mhm. Yep.
I've just got a question on D, number 4, where it talks about the wattage may not exceed 42 watts, 48 V. What is V?
Volts,
Volts.
you want to spell it out? And it's not capitalized.
What's that?
Yeah, it's, you could just spell it out, VOLTS, you got room.
$99?
Same, the same question comes up on that storage and,
Yeah, this is the new verbiage that we just approved.
yeah, that's what it.
Or actually, right, this is
Mhm.
what, yeah,
Yes,
it was
yes,
the
in the-
form-based codes, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, 100.
Oh, at the bottom of page 799 in 14D, queuing has queuing is QUEUEING. Because I have actually taken queuing theory classes. Isn't that scary?
Yeah, just go back and double check, because
Right
there's some
here, this is
queuing behind it
drive-through,
too.
capital T.
Are there
that
other,
is drive-through.
check
Love it.
queuings throughout.
Yeah,
Is that-
check
is that a
queuing
capital
throughout,
T or a
because there's some other
lowercase?
sections I saw queuing too.
So check the spelling of queuing throughout. Sumit said he's seen it a couple times, so it's probably misspelled consistently.
Okay, I'll say check throughout.
Yeah.
Okay, 100?
Well, of course, I had a lot of questions on it, but don't need to bring them up now.
I just had in 3A3, pump canopies must be the greater of.
Oh, yeah,
good
nice.
call.
Must be.
Good. Missed that.
And then in D, just to be consistent, should it say gasoline station instead of gas/fueling station? Is it just gasoline station?
Unless this is the idea that it might be an EV, an electric fueling station. Could then just be a fueling station, but,
Right here, Robin.
Oh, I see.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
which brings up an interesting question. Do you need standards for electric vehicle charging?
Don't have any right now, and that would be like a policy thing. They're not really.
Yeah, put it on the list
Put
of
on
things we
that
needed
list.
to do.
I'm not sure they're the council's position of.
Well, it was interesting because it came up when they were talking about 2 meetings ago, it actually came up in discussion about should we have them, where should we have them? Because we're trying for some
Right.
certification, so we probably need to put it on the very long to-do list.
Well, I think though too, they don't.
They
my
were gonna,
impression was they don't want to just do things just to check the box list.
right, but if they decide to have electric vehicles charging stations, we need standards for what they'll look
Yeah, so
like.
it's kind of like a policy decision.
Mhm.
on their
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, because parking garages, all that, would need to incorporate it.
Yeah.
The to-do list, like you said, or at least to look into it.
I think they should.
101?
She's pushing.
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
I know.
Good. I know.
Everybody's had a long day.
Again, it talks, you answered the question on 5-acre road zone. The only thing I had there.
This
So-
zone, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things, and I didn't mention it on 7A, but I'm seeing all this, the word facades. Sometimes in 7A, they had that interesting French C, so he probably needs to search throughout the entire document to make sure he's not using the facade with
The facade, the
the
C,
C,
yeah,
with
yeah,
the unusual French C, because I did see some of them in 7A and
right.
glanced over them.
We'll tell them to do that. Look
Yeah.
for,
So on 102, facade is capitalized, capitalized, capitalized until you get to F and G when it's not capitalized.
yeah.
And then,
It's funny how some of
Yeah.
it does.
and then in GI, should it be just first story in parentheses?
Yes. First story.
And then in E8, just the justification on that last
Yeah, that's a
line.
page break issue.
Page break, okay.
Right. One oh three. One oh four.
I'm trying to find out if appurtenances is properly spelled and what in the heck it is.
Yeah, I looked at that too. I thought,
It's an accessory or other item associated with a particular activity or style of living.
I've seen.
Can't we say accessories? No. Would saying accessories make it more approachable? Because that's what appurtenances means.
okay, yeah, let's see if we can.
If we had to look it up, other people are going to have to look it up.
Right.
One oh four again on facades. Facades. Caps and smalls.
Oh, yes, on I2.
And then H3, I don't know if single-family houses is supposed to be capitalized, each word.
Single-family house is not defined.
Undefined. It's not defined, but then it's like titled, like specific to single-family houses is a section, specific to townhouses. Single-family house is not defined.
It's not a defined term. It's
Family home is not defined.
Yeah, they probably just then divert into the common use.
Single-family houses.
I know,
are
I got that
capital.
capital, I got that noted.
Well,
whether it
she's
should
saying,
or shouldn't.
Judy's saying it's not a defined term. It's not,
It's not in the definitions.
Yeah, I mean, and the way that he uses single family after that is either the title of the next section or it's the first word, single. So I'm thinking it probably isn't capitalized.
so
Yeah,
it's, so it doesn't need to be a defined term, single-family house or?
I would think so.
I would think
it's,
so.
It may not be in the base code, but I think there's in the regular,
it's not in Article 13.
oh, okay, well, let's see.
Because I have a very well-worn Article 13 by now. Nope. Because it's,
What's used so frequently,
Still,
it should be
yeah, exactly.
Fine.
It should be defined.
in the article you read.
Yeah,
anything
it's such a
says,
common,
and
yeah.
Single family. Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
it was a single family. Oh,
I mean,
So there are,
no, just, when we get to 13, single-family homes.
I mean, I guess we can suggest the definition for it then.
I mean, then the same thing would
Yeah.
go for townhouse, you know, section above that.
Well, I think there is for townhouses.
There is for
same
townhouses?
As,
There's for townhouse, okay.
it's synonymous with, row
Row
house.
house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No definition on townhouse. No definition on townhouse.
Well,
It says
should-
C, rear yard building.
I think there's,
No definition on roadhouse.
So it says rear yard building, a building that occupies the full frontage line, leaving the rear of the lot as the sole yard. See table 6, parentheses, I guess variations, row house, townhouse, apartment house.
So, but
It's not, go ahead.
I'd add it to Article 13. Add townhouse. Single-family home.
Multifamily too, but add multifamily as well. If that's not defined.
Yeah,
oh, there is,
so it's,
I said that had come up before.
I know that there's a section in the general definitions that talk about different type housing subset of it.
I think if it's one of those, if a definition is in the body, I think for consistency, we should have it in the definition so that, like here, we're like, oh, yeah, where is it? Well, it's not there.
So in the general one, it's called, well, so there's a definition for different types of dwellings. There's like a duplex dwelling, multifamily dwelling, quadruplex, triplex dwelling unit, single-family dwelling unit. So,
Even if we,
this is
Where is
so there is a definition for single-family dwelling unit, not a single-family house.
and where is that?
It's in the it should end up being in the definitions.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
It got
Because it's
missed.
in the general definitions, not in the form-based code. So if you look under dwelling unit in the 13,
There's a dwelling,
There should be some subsets of.
and there's a
those.
dwelling unit. Dwelling unit is a single unit consisting of one or more rooms constructed with cooking, sleeping, and sanitary facilities designed for and limited to use as a living quarters for one family. So it sounds like the definitions that you're looking at didn't get moved over.
What?
Sounds like those definitions need to get moved over to 13.
Okay, yeah, all of the subsets of
Definitely.
it. Okay,
But then but then this potentially would need to be corrected or changing the wording to match the definition, the defined term.
okay.
So if it's single-family dwelling unit, then that's how it should be here.
Or
Yes.
call it or also define single-family homes and define it as a family dwelling unit.
That too, but then they have to go
Yeah.
and change that definition.
Okay.
So saying, yeah, this town, I mean, if you say townhouses there, multifamily, I mean, I know the previous section said specific to multifamily buildings. Again, I don't know if it needs to be clarified, multifamily dwelling or whatever it's
Right.
called, yeah.
Yeah. Consistency. Tables. Tables.
One oh five? On 105, 7, E, so we've got 7D and 7E, where it says porches and stoops must be 8 inches wide, but then E, it says porches must be at least 8 feet. Should we clarify deep? Wide, do you know what I mean? Shouldn't they, must be 8 feet deep?
I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't know what,
'Cause
8
it's
feet
depth.
tall, 8 feet.
8 feet in depth.
8 inches wide. Um, no,
Porches must be at least 8 feet depth. Or-
but
Well, I think at
Gotta
least
be
8
8
feet
feet.
in depth.
Yeah,
And then, is that D 8 inches wide?
yeah, so porch, the columns have to be at least 8
8 inches wide.
wide.
Yeah.
Wide.
I mean,
Okay.
you would think it'd be at least square, or
Okay.
whatever. I don't know, but yeah,
So maybe add 8 feet in depth.
okay.
Okay. All right, and then the tables. 106. Well, we've got on 108, that's slip roads again,
Okay.
capital S.
Mhm.
On 110, 111, one 12 and 113.
So on 113, I just, in the table, it says, under, beside landscape type, it says, for trees at 30, it's OC average, what's OC?
On center.
On center average, okay.
You measure plants on center from center of plant to center of plant or center of trees. Okay, 114. 15. And 16 and 17.
So I go back to 114, walkway type, and then it says 18 over 10-foot sidewalk.
Well, it's because if you look at above at the description or the exhibit,
sizes.
right above, there's 18 feet on one side and 10 feet on. So one has a bigger width, but, and 10-foot sidewalk, walkway, so one side can be bigger than the other side, or.
So should it be like 18, times 10, like 18 by 10?
No, it's like 18/10. Because the left side is 18 feet and the right side sidewalk is 10
10
feet.
foot.
One side is 18 feet, the other side is 10 feet.
Whereas, see, if you go to the right, it says 11-foot sidewalk on both sides.
Okay.
But it does kind of,
Well,
Yeah, it doesn't, I'm thinking like length by width, so 18 by 10, right? Whatever that is, or 10 by
No,
18.
it's-
Well, it's the
It's
space
the
from
graphic
the,
above. it
right.
Yeah,
reads-
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. One.
we said back that should have come up earlier. Side yard is one word, right?
Yes.
Yes.
In the form-based code, it
Right.
is, yeah.
Okay,
Edge yard,
you're right.
okay, 119.
121, it's the same comments on civic or other, except the references to section 8.2.3, whereas before, obviously for crabapple, it was a different section, 8.2.2. So,
Talking about where it says for specific permitted uses.
no, at the bottom, on 7-121, under civic and other, where it says see table 10, and table 10 says see section 8.2.3. So rather than have them, so cross out see section table 10 and say see section 8.2.3. We made a
Right.
similar in crabapple, only it pointed to 8.2.2.
Right.
Also in that table, the first column, A and B are left justified, the remainder are centered. If we could just
Good.
make it all.
By the same. to
Yeah,
the
left justified. Mhm. All right, 123.
One 124, just put a period after where it says setbacks, principal building, BLDG period.
So at the top of 7-125, under building configuration at the end of sentence point 2, it's like, which must be a minimum of 11 FT period with a maximum of 25 feet. So feet and feet or FT period and FT period? Pick your poison. I prefer spelling out feet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 126, same thing. And I think I made a note earlier. I've seen it a couple places, the
Right.
feet and the feet. That's in building configuration too.
Yeah.
It's weird if you look at the T5, it's all just being consistent. Your parking placement. It says see table 13, section D, but if you go to the next page, it's like the parentheses around section. Like to get rid of the section in 127, the parentheses.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different on 1, 2, both.
Descriptions again.
Yep.
And do we need a blank page on the last page?
Yeah, I mean,
On the last page, has absolutely nothing to do with this, other than where are galleries allowed? Because somewhere in there, I couldn't find it, that I swore it said it couldn't be on Mayfield,
galleries,
galleries, that it couldn't be on Mayfield.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that
where
was when we were reviewing was that when we were, that wasn't in the special districts, Mayfield District wording,
if
was it?
anything, actually, there's the closest thing to a gallery on Mayfield with the building, with John Gaston's building across from the library.
Well, but we define galleries as part of it, and the definition was that it's a retail. So
It's a retail component. I mean, typically a gallery is part of
9:15.
Only.
a retail use.
right.
Not like a gallery as an art gallery.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
gallery as an architectural
But
function.
I think that it said that wherever it was, I read that it wasn't allowed on Mayfield.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I mean, we can look
I'm
into it.
I'm
but-
sorry,
I remember reading that too. There was a lot of things you couldn't do along Mayfield and Broadwell, and there were specific restrictions along on Birmingham. Yeah,
It's kind of weird because.
it's coming back to me, but that was yesterday.
thank you.
That was yesterday. I think you got off easy today as having to chair. You know, you didn't have to read any long things. I wouldn't. Anything else, Robin?
No, I think that's it. I think we're,
Move to adjourn.
okay, 9:15, adjourn.